Before the beginning, there was no time, no space, no form, no matter. There was only the eternal, the one who dwells outside of time, who needs no origin, who was not made but his maker. And into that realm of the infinite, the voice of Alpha was first heard. Alpha is not just a letter. It is the first utterance, the first cause, the seed of all that was, is, and will be. It is the voice that broke the silence of eternity. Now let there be light. These were not words of poetry. They were the very breath of God igniting creation. The moment Alpha was spoken, time was born. And from that first divine syllable, the universe began to unfold. Galaxies spiraled into place. Stars caught fire in the void. Earth was formed from the dust of the Word. Yet the one who spoke that word, the Alpha himself, was not changed by what he created. The river of time began to flow, but he stood unmoved beside it. The sun began to rise and set, but he remained constant. He did not come into existence with the beginning. He was before the beginning. The Creator is not subject to his creation. The artist is not bound by the canvas. The author is not contained by the story. So the mystery unfolds. Alpha is not just the beginning of time. It is the declaration that time is a source, and that source is a person. Now imagine this. The one who began the beginning did not remain distant from it. He who was above time chose to enter it. He who formed man from the dust allowed himself to be formed in the womb of a virgin. He who laid the foundations of the universe laid in a manger. The eternal stepped into the temporary. The infinite wrapped himself in the finite. The one who writes history entered history. He who is before all became flesh and dwelt among us. This is the unsearchable wonder, that Alpha, the first, would choose to be last, that the author of life would write himself into the story, not as a king upon a throne, but as a servant, as a sacrifice, as the Lamb of God. And why? Because we had broken time. We had corrupted the creation. The timeline of humanity, once perfect, had been stained by sin. Every breath, every heartbeat now carried the shadow of death. The story was unraveling, but the Alpha had already written the end from the beginning. The solution was not an edit to the story, it was a descendant. The one who had spoken the world into being would now let himself be struck by that very world. The Creator would be mocked by his creation. The author would be rejected by the characters he had made. But this too was part of the mystery. He did not enter time in weakness. He entered in power cloaked in humility. For only the one who was above time could redeem it. Only the one who had no beginning could give us a new beginning. When he walked the earth, he carried the weight of eternity in every step. Every word from his mouth was layered with the voice of Alpha. When he spoke peace to the storm, it was the same voice that had ordered the oceans in the beginning. When he touched the leper, it was the same hand that had formed Adam from the clay. And when he stood before the tomb of Lazarus and cried, "Come forth!" it was the Alpha voice reversing the power of death itself. Time obeyed him. Creation knew him. History recognized him. The demons trembled at him. Why? Because he was not just a man in time. He was the Lord of time. Even his death was not the end, but another beginning. The Alpha tasted mortality so that we could taste immortality. The eternal entered the grave to shatter its hold. He stepped into death would lose its sting. And when he rose again, time itself was reset. The grave became a womb. The end became a new Genesis, the firstborn from the dead, the beginning of a new creation, the Alpha of the redeemed. To say he is Alpha is to say that all things begin with him. Every purpose, every destiny, every promise. Without him, nothing begins rightly. Without him, the clock ticks only toward decay. With him, time becomes holy. Life becomes sacred. The seconds and the centuries align with divine purpose. Every moment finds its meaning in him. Every life finds its worth in his gaze. Every breath becomes a gift. For he is not merely the first letter. He is the voice behind all letters, the word behind all words, the cause behind every cause. He is the author and the finisher of your life. Every story begins with a word, and every word begins with a breath. And every breath that has ever passed through your lungs began in him. You were not an accident of nature. You were not the result of random motion or cosmic coincidence. You were written. You were spoken into being. Before you ever opened your eyes, the Word had already seen you. Before your first step, the scroll of your days had already been unrolled in heaven. He is not only the God of creation, he is the God of intention. Nothing in your life escapes his pen. Nothing you've lived has been beyond the reach of his authorship. He is the author. That means he holds the ink. That means he sees the end before the beginning. That means the trials you walked through, the failures you endured, the wounds that marked you, none of it is wasted in his hands. The same God who formed the stars and set the galaxies into motion formed your soul with precision. The same voice that called light into being whispered your name before the foundation of the world. He is the author who writes not only the glory, but also the struggle, not only the victory, but also the valley. It is in the darkness that light becomes visible. It is in the brokenness that the breakthrough is born. You were not just written once. You are being written even now. Every step you take, every choice, every cry, every silent prayer, they are all part of the story being crafted by the one who sees all, knows all, and wastes nothing. Even your detours do not escape his hand. Even your rebellion can be woven into redemption. He does not throw away pages. He restores them. He does not abandon the manuscript. He rewrites it with mercy. You may see only the chapter you're in, but he sees the whole narrative. You may see only the ashes, but he sees the crown. You may feel lost, but to the author, every line has its place. And he is not only the author, he is the finisher. He does not abandon what he begins. He does not leave his work incomplete. He who began a good work in you will bring it to completion. The enemy may whisper that it's too late, that you've fallen too far, that your story is over. But the enemy is not the author. The enemy does not hold the pen. He cannot rewrite what heaven has sealed. He cannot cancel what God has called. He cannot close a book that God is still writing. When God finishes a work, he finishes it in glory. He finishes it in perfection. The end of his writing always reveals his nature. Mercy, justice, holiness, love. If you are still breathing, then the finisher is still working. Your pain is not final. Your scars are not the conclusion. The page you are on may be filled with chaos, but the author is bringing it toward order. The finisher is aligning every moment toward a divine purpose. Nothing is outside his reach. Not your past, not your present, not your future. He holds it all in his hand, the pen, the scroll, the ink, the pages. He writes in mysteries. He weaves in parables. He builds with both the fire and the water. And sometimes what feels like the end is merely a pause. A Selah, a moment between breaths, the silence between movements in the symphony. But the music has not stopped. The quill has not been laid down. The final word has not been written. You are a living letter, not yet sealed, not yet sent, not yet finished. And the one who is writing knows what he's doing. He knows how to take a Saul and make him a Paul. He knows how to take a barren womb and bring forth nations. He knows how to take a crucifixion and turn it into a resurrection. He knows how to finish what no man could ever begin. The hand that began the universe is the hand on your life. The same breath that breathed into Adam is breathing into your purpose. The same voice that calmed the sea is speaking over your storm. You are not wandering. You are not forgotten. You are not unwritten. You are being crafted, word by word, by the author and the finisher. The mystery of redemption lies at the heart of the Alpha and the Omega. The one who had no beginning entered the world of beginnings. The one who had no end submitted himself to the end. Redemption is not a concept. It is a person. It is the eternal stepping into the temporal, the infinite wrapped in flesh, the Creator walking among the created. It is not simply the story of rescue. It is the story of reversal, restoration, return. The one who formed the stars came to dwell among the dust. The Word became flesh, and in that moment, the divine mystery began to unfold in full view. Redemption is not God sending a message from afar. It is God entering the mess. It is not an angel with a scroll. It is Emmanuel with scars. The Alpha did not shout salvation from the heavens. He bled it out on the earth. He did not redeem with gold or silver, but with blood. With the blood that carried the breath of heaven. The blood that had never known sin but bore it. The blood that had never been tainted but was poured out for the tainted. The redemption of man came not through a system, not through a law, not through a ritual, but through a person, a sacrifice, a mystery veiled in flesh, an agony. The one who had spoken the law now stood accused by it. The one who had given breath now surrendered his own. The one who had created time now allowed himself to be bound by an hour, a moment, a crucifixion. The cross was not an interruption in his mission. It was the mission. It was the mission. It was the place where justice and mercy collided, where sin was not ignored but paid for, where the sentence was carried out not on the guilty, but on the innocent. The mystery is that the Alpha would become the offering, that the first would be forsaken so that the last could be found. that the voice that created light would be shrouded in darkness. Every act of redemption was foretold before the foundation of the world. The Lamb was slain before there was a garden. The cross stood in the eternal before it stood on the hill of Calvary. The nails were not forged by Rome alone. They were written into the story by the hand of the Redeemer himself. He chose them. He embraced them. Not because he was overpowered, but because love overpowered judgment. Because the covenant could not be fulfilled without the blood of the one who made it. This is the mystery that prophets long to see, that angels peer into, that the Ancient of Days would be born of a woman, that the All-Powerful would become a servant, that the King would bear a crown of thorns. And this redemption was not only for a people or a nation, but for all creation. The groaning of the earth is the sound of a world waiting for the fullness of what he began. When he stepped into time, he did not just redeem souls. He began the redemption of time itself. The calendar was split in two. History was divided by his arrival. And the day is coming when the same one who hung on a tree will sit on a throne, when the Redeemer will be revealed as the ruler. The one who is pierced will be the one who reigns. But redemption did not end at the cross. It continued in empty tomb, for the Alpha did not just die. He rose. He defeated the Omega of death by becoming it and overcoming it. He made a way where there had been none. He broke the cycle of sin and shame. He became the bridge between what was lost and what is eternal. And in that resurrection, a new beginning was born, the firstborn from the dead, the beginning of a new creation, the seed that would give rise to a harvest of the redeemed. Redemption touches every fiber of existence. It is not a moment, but a movement. It is not an idea, but an invasion. The kingdom entered the fallen realm through a pure Savior. And now, those who are called by his name are caught up in that same mystery. For how it redeemed not to remain as they were, but to be transformed. To become living testimonies, walking revelations of the mystery. To show that the Alpha still writes new beginnings, and that through him, no end is truly the end. The mystery of the Alpha and Omega is the mystery of a love that would go to the lowest place to lift us to the highest.
The one who came as the lamb will return as the lion. The first coming was veiled in humility, wrapped in swaddling clothes, laid in a feeding trough, hidden from kings and rulers, revealed only to shepherds and those who sought him with hunger. But the second coming will not be veiled. It will not be hidden. It will be seen. It will be known. It will shake the heavens and the earth. The one who came to serve will return to reign. The one who rode into Jerusalem on a donkey will descend upon the Mount of Olives with power and glory, riding on the clouds, crowned with many crowns, with fire in his eyes and a sword in his mouth. The first time he came to bear judgment. The next time he will come to bring it. The first time he was silent before his accusers. The next time his voice will silence every accuser. The first time he came to be pierced. The next time he will pierce the darkness with the light of his glory. He is the Alpha and the Omega, and his return will complete the mystery. The scroll of time will be unrolled. The trumpet will sound. The heavens will split. The nations will tremble. The dead will rise. The books will be opened. The Lamb will be revealed as the King of Kings, and every knee will bow, whether they believed or not, whether they loved or hated, whether they accepted or rejected. The one who once stood before Pilate will now summon the nations. The one who was crowned with thorns will be crowned with honor. The one who was judged by man will judge all men. He will not return as a servant, but as the sovereign. His garments will be dipped in blood, not the blood of his sacrifice, but the blood of vengeance. The day of grace will close, and the day of reckoning will begin. The heavens and the earth will flee from his presence. The stars will fall. The sun will hide its face. The elements will melt with fervent heat. For the Omega will come, not to negotiate, not to plead, but to establish what has been written from the foundation of the world. For the return of the Omega is not the end. It is the fulfillment. It is the consummation of every prophecy, every promise, every shadow cast by the law and the prophets. What was foreshadowed in the tabernacle, what was echoed in the feasts, what was proclaimed by the prophets will be unveiled in fullness. He will gather his own, and he will separate the wheat from the tares, the sheep from the goats. He will wipe every tear from the eyes of the redeemed, and will bring justice to those who cried out under the altar. He will vindicate the martyrs, answer the prayers of the saints, and silence the mocking of the wicked. The kingdoms of this world will become the kingdom of our God and of his Christ. The governments will fall before the government that rests upon his shoulders. The idols of men will be shattered. The pride of nations will be humbled. The thrones of tyrants will be overturned. And he will establish a reign of righteousness that will have no end. The earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. The curse will be broken, the sword will be beaten into a plowshare, the lion will lie down with the lamb, and the tree of life, once guarded by a flaming sword, will again be accessible to the nations. This is not myth. This is not metaphor. This is the mystery written in the heavens, echoed in creation, sealed in the scriptures, and guaranteed by the resurrection. The one who is taken up in the clouds will return in like manner. The Omega will return as the Alpha, to restore what was lost, to redeem what was broken, to renew what was marred. Every longing will be met. Every injustice will be answered. Every knee that buckled in faith will rise in glory, and the throne will be established in Jerusalem, and from it will flow healing to the nations. The Lamb who was slain will be the center of the new creation, and his name will be on the foreheads of the redeemed. Time itself will bow before him. The story will be complete, the song finished, the scroll sealed with the seal of eternity. Every breath you've ever taken exists between his Alpha and his Omega. Every moment of your life, every joy and sorrow, every rise and fall is framed by the one who called the universe into being and will one day call it to its conclusion. Your birth was not random, and your days are not drifting aimlessly. They are set within the great scroll of time. And that scroll is held in the hands of the one who was and is to come. Before you were formed, the Word had already declared your existence. Before your parents saw your face, the Alpha had already written your name into his eternal plan. Every second carries weight because every second is part of a divine narrative. The ticking of the clock is not empty noise. It is the rhythm of a story unfolding according to the wisdom of the eternal. You do not live by accident. You breathe under the gaze of the one who has seen the end from the beginning. The one who lit the stars also ordained the hours of your life. The sun rises because he commands it, and it sets because he permits it. Your days are not slipping away. They are being measured and molded for a purpose that stretches beyond this present world. From the first light of creation to the final trumpet, history itself is a scroll sealed with divine meaning. And that scroll is not merely a record of events. It is the unfolding of the mystery of God through time. Every empire that rose and fell, every war and peace, every deliverance and exile, every king enthroned and every prophet sent, all of it is part of the scroll that declares the supremacy of the Alpha and the Omega. And within that scroll, your life is written not as a footnote, but as a thread woven into the tapestry of redemption. Even the moments you think are forgotten are not lost to him. The tears you cried in secret are remembered. The prayers you whispered in the dark are inscribed. The burdens you carried in silence were never unnoticed. The Alpha, who was there at the dawn of time, stood with you in every hidden place, in every hour of weakness, in every valley of uncertainty. And the Omega, who holds the conclusion, knows how the broken pieces will be restored, how the questions will find their answers, how the wounds will be made whole. The seasons of your life are not chaos, they are chapters. Chapters written by the hand of the eternal. Some are written in joy, some in sorrow, some in silence, some in song. But all are written with purpose. The Alpha does not begin what he will not complete. The Omega does not conclude what he has not carefully prepared. There are no wasted seasons. There are no pointless delays. What seems like stillness is often the moment before the unveiling. What feels like loss is often the soil in which something greater will grow. The one who framed time knows how to redeem every hour.